I'm going to talk about forms and functions in JavaScript. So here I have created a form and I can run this thing. I will click the button, say hi, and guess what's going to happen? Well, it says hello instead of hi. I can click bye and in fact it says bye. Well, that works fabulously. Now, wouldn't it be great if I could type in my name, Haas, and it would say hello, Haas, or bye, Haas would also be nice. Well, how am I going to do that? And that's what we're going to work on here. First, let's look at what I've created just to get this thing. Now, this is an input area, or it's called a form, actually, in HTML. And over here on the left, you can see how I've written this. This is a new tag for you. You have not seen this before. This is the form tag. Now, a form declares an area in your document where you can have input and output. You can have little input and output text areas. You can output to this text area as well as input to it. And you can have various buttons, and you can have also drop-down boxes and radio buttons and check boxes, and we'll talk about that later. But this is the beginning of my form tag. This is the end of my form tag, and you have to name your form. Now, I named my form my form. I could have called it pickles and orange juice or something if I wanted to, but I called it my form. Inside of my form, I have created these three things here. The first thing, it's an input area. The type of it is a text field, and it's obvious this is my text field right here, and I've given that a name, and I named it first name because I would like the user to type in their first name, although I guess I typed in my last name. I gave it a size. That's the width of the field. And I gave it a value initially of nothing. Now I could change this value initially if I want to. I could, for example, make it pizza. Now when I refresh this, you can see that the initial value is pizza. I can also change the size. I can make the size really tiny. And if I refresh that, you can see the size is really tiny. Now 2 is not the number of characters. It must be the number of some kind of pixel width or something like that. I don't know what the units are, but something. And actually, if you don't have size, it'll give you a default size of somewhere around 20, something like that. You could make it really big, but let's return it to 30 and I'll refresh this. So this is my text field, and I'm going to change the default back. So when the page loads, it's nothing. Underneath it, I've declared two other input areas. These are buttons. So instead of the type being text, the type is button. I've given them values of say hi and say bye. Now notice the value here is what shows up on the button. The value here was a little something different. It's what you actually can type in. And on click describes what happens when you guessed it, when you click the button. So when I click the say hi button, it does this. Well, this is the name of a function that gets run. So when they click this button, it will run a function called hi. When they click this button, it'll run a function called bye. Up here in the head section, this is my document. In the head section, I have written two functions. And these are written in JavaScript, of course. Now, a function begins with the keyword function, and it has to begin and end with curly brackets. The name of this function is hi. It's a very simple function. It just says hello. I also wrote a function called bye. It says bye. These functions get run, again, only when this button is clicked. So I think you can see let's just do this one more time. I'm going to click, let's refresh this. I'm going to click the first button and it runs the function hello. I'll click the second button. It runs the function bye. Now, wouldn't it be great, again, if I could, let's say my name is Bob, if I could say, hi, Bob. Well, I can access this particular text box. The name of it, it's a little bit confusing initially, but I think it makes sense. The name of that text box, it has a very long name. It is called document. In other words, look in the document. Look in the form. Now, the name of my form is called my form. Go get the variable called first name and get me its value. So I know this is very long, but this says, go look in this document go to the form called myForm, get the variable called first name, and get me its value. Now, if I save this, let me refresh this again. I'll type in my name is Mo, and now it says, hello, Mo. Now, it doesn't say it because I did not change my by function. Notice I have no space here, so let me put a space there, and let's make this a little bit better. So I'll refresh it and run it again. Type in another name, Sue. Hello, Sue. It seems to be working. Jim. Hello, Jim. I think it works. Well, that's wonderful. All right. So this is very long, I know. This says, go look in the document, go to the variable called myForm, go find the variable called first name, and get its value. Now, actually, I don't even have to include the word document. It'll look in this document by default, and I can show you that if I save it and refresh it. And blah, blah, blah. Hello, blah, 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 whatever. Now, by, I'm going to have it say by as well, but I'm going to do this a little bit differently. This is a kind of a cumbersome variable name to work with. So oftentimes what I do is I declare a local variable. I declared a variable called n in this case, and I'm going to set it equal to whatever is in this form, myForm.firstName.value. And now underneath here, I can use it very easily. I can just say n or something. And so I've just declared I did in 2 lines here what I did in 1 line, but if you end up using this variable multiple times, you'll see this is going to be a little bit easier to just create a little local variable, a var, and assign it to whatever's in that box. I'm going to add one more function. So much fun. All right, so let me save this guy and let's just make sure that it works. Refresh it. I'll change it back. Joe. Hello, Joe. Bye, Joe. I want to create an additional button, a last button. And I'm going to do this quick here for you. I'll do one more button, and let's call this button clear. I'll say clear name, and I'll call the function clear name. Great. And now I'll make myself a new function called, you guessed it, clear name. And what do you think clear name is going to do? Yeah, it's going to clear the name. All right, so I will set my form.firstName.value to nothing. So let's see if we can run this one more time, and I'll refresh it. So now I have my 3 buttons here, and one last thing. Let's see, Bud. Hello, Bud. Bye, Bud. And clears, Bud. There we go. So again, functions are usually written in the head section of your document. You really actually don't have to, I don't think, but they're typically written up here. And these functions only get run. These are only getting run when you call them. How do you call a function? Well, you call a function by saying the name of that function. So on click, I am running this function called clear name. On click, I'm running a function called by. On click, I'm running a function called hi. So this is your first, I know it's a lot, but this is an important video. This is your introduction to forms and calling functions. Alrighty.